Welcome to Time to Drive. My name is Mohammed. Today I will go through all the questions that the officer he can ask you before the test. He will ask you 3 questions, and this question is about the technique of the car and the legal condition of the car. If the officer he asks you the question, please check the shock absorbers. The way that we do that is we press above the tires like that, and we do that on all the tires. There is 4 tires, so obviously we will do it on all the 4. When you check the shock absorbers of the last 2 tires in the back, then remember to open the trunk. Many of my students make that mistake, that they come in the back of the car and press above the lights. That's not the way to do it. Open the trunk, put your hands here, press and press, and look at the officer and say the car gets up and stabilize. If you get the question, please check the exhaust system of the car. Then the way to do that is to turn on the car and get in the back of the car where the exhaust system is, the silencer is. Remember to put your hand here so you don't lose your balance while you answer the question and check the exhaust system. The way you do that, you put your foot here at the exhaust system and move it a little bit so you can check that the exhaust system is not loose. And you look at the exhaust system and see if there's unnecessary smoke or unnecessary noise. If you get the question, please control the tire. Then the way to do that, you look at the tire and tell the police officer there's no damage. After that, you find the arrow right here where my finger is, and put your finger between these holes, and here there would be this indicator, and this must be 1.6 millimeters. If the rubber of the tires are below that point, that means that the tire is not according to the law. If you get the question, please check the free play. Then the way to do that is that you get over here. Remember to have the window open and the car on. Take the steering and move it like this, up and down. And while you move it up and down, the rim have to follow your motions on the steering. And if they do that, then there is no free play in the steering system. If you get the question, please control the horn. Then the way to do it is that you get over here, put your hands on the horn, press it, and the horn have to have one sound. The sound must not go up and down, and the sound can't have any melody. If you get the question, please control the brake. The way that you control the brake is you start the car, press the brake pedal all the way that you can, and tell the police officer that the brake pedal doesn't go all the way down. If you get the question, please control the vacuum booster in the car. Then the way to do that is that you press the brake pedal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Hold it down and turn on the car. Then the brake pedal have to go down a little bit, but not all the way down. If you get the question, what can you tell me about the low beam? Then you have to answer, there must be 2, either yellowish or white. The light have to brighten up the road 30 meters in front of the car. The right side of the low beam must be brighter than the left side, because that we can see walking people, small motorbikes, and cyclists on darker roads like in the villages and outside the city. The way that you control or check the low beam is that you stand in front of the car, put your finger at the border of the light, and take a good step backward, about a meter, and then the border must fall 1 centimeter. Then you have checked that the low beam have a fall on 1%. If you get the question, what can you tell me about the high beam? Then you must answer that there must be 2. The color should be either yellowish or white, and they must brighten up the road 100 meters in front of the car. If you get the question, what can you tell me about the position lights? Then you have to answer, there must be 2, either yellowish or white, and you must see them from a distance of at least 300 meters. If you get the question, what can you tell me about the back lights or the rear lights? Then you have to answer, there must be two, they must be red, and they must be seen of a distance of at least 300 meters. If the officer, he asks you the question, what can you tell me about the brake lights? Then you have to answer that there must be three, they must be red, and they must be brighter than the backlight. If the officer asks you the question, what can you tell me about the number plate lights? Then you have to answer that there must be one, but if there's two, they both should be functionable and they should either be white or yellowish. And the number plate must be reading of a distance of 20 meters. If the police officer asks you the question, what can you tell me about the turn lights or the turn signals? Then you must answer that there should be 6, 2 in the front, 2 at the sides and 2 in the back, and the color must be yellow. You have to see them in a bright sunny day also. They must blink 1 to 2 times per second. If the officer asks you any question about the motor room, you have to open it. The way that you open it, that you open the door, get inside here, take the handle, pull it toward yourself, get in front of the car, and above the brand, there's a little handle that you can press up. This is the handle that I have just pressed up to open the motor room. The next thing you do, you look inside the motor room and tell the officer there's no waste of any oil or any fluid, and the motor room is nice and clean. If you get the question by the police officer, please check the motor oil. Then you tell him that the motor oil, you put it in here and you check it here. You check it by pulling this stick out, drying it with a piece of paper. The motor oil should be between these 2 points. Then you put the stick in again, pull it out again, then you can see that it is between these 2 points. So the motor oil is okay. If the police officer asks you the question, please check the coolant liquid. Then you come in the motor room and point at this container. This is the coolant fluid container. It should be between full and low. If the officer asks you the question, please check the washer fluid. You show him this is the washer fluid container and there must be enough for a car ride. If the officer asks you the question, where do you put the brake oil in? You show him the container. Here is the container of the brake oil. There must be between full and low. If the police officer asks you about the emergency lights, then you have to answer him that all the rules according to the turn lights are applicable to the emergency lights, but the emergency lights, you are supposed to only use it on the motorway where there is unexpected rush, and only as long as the car in back of you have turned his emergency lights on, then you have to turn yours off. It's very important that you can handle the washers in front and in the back, because if it's raining or snowing on the day that you are going to the practical test, the police officer can say that he won't drive with you because you can't handle the safety equipment of the car.